Hello, today's video is going to be about books. It's not going to be controversial, it's going to be very chilled out, everybody's going to be happy. Because who doesn't love books? I've been reading quite a bit since I finished university for summer and I intend to read lots more books before the summer is out, so I'm going to tell you about them in the order in which I read them, which means I'm starting with this book. This is The Virgin Suicide. I think this book is the same age as me, but I'd never read it before and I'd never seen the film. I enjoyed the book, I enjoyed the story, I knew where it was going, I quite liked the style. Hated most of the characters. Once or twice I wished them dead, in fact. It's funny, it's a little bit dark, a little bit different. I would not recommend watching the movie the day after you read the book because it sticks to the dialogue of the book really, really closely, and when you read the book the day before, then you're not entertained, to be honest. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. I really like this cover and I picked this up in a charity shop. It was pretty cheap. I know you shouldn't really do that, but I did because I'm poor. I'm glad I read this, but it wasn't life-changing. Next is The Red House by Mark Haddon. This was released earlier this year. Mark Haddon is the author of The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, which is one of my favourite sort of contemporary books. It's really, really fantastic and you should read that if you haven't, and I was really drawn to this because the cover is in the same kind of style. However, this is a completely different book. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime deals with a boy who's about 12 years old and has Asperger's, and it's very touching and heartwarming and funny. This book is similar in that it's a reflection on people and a very honest, very accurate one. However, it's I think aimed at maybe an older audience. It's about family. It's about Angela and her brother Richard, and they've never really gotten along. They have two different families and he's quite wealthy, so he decides that he's going to take both their families to have a little holiday in this big house in the English countryside, and not much happens. It's really all about people and emotions and relationships. I found it very interesting and I really enjoyed reading it, but certainly it's not on par with The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. And then most recently I just finished this. This is The Aftermath by Rydian Brooke. Sana mentioned this in a video recently, and I was in Waterstones waiting for a friend and she was late and it was there and it was £2 off, and you know what happens. This is gorgeous. It's a hardback copy. It's really, really lovely. It's about the aftermath of World War II. I am a massive World War II fanatic. I don't know if fanatic's the right word when talking about war. You know, you kind of think once the war ends, the good stories are over, but I think this book certainly disproves that. This book is fictional. It's about an army officer named Lewis who is in Hamburg. He's British, and as happened when the war ended, the Allied generals and the kind of high-ranking soldiers, they got the houses of the sort of wealthy Germans. That's what happens to Lewis and his family, and his wife Rachel and his son Edmund finally get to join him and they get to be reunited as a family in this house. But strangely, instead of evicting the owner of the house, Lubert, and his daughter Frida, Lewis, he's different. He doesn't want to kick these people out of their own home. He feels a bit strange about moving into someone else's house. So he decides, you know what, let's give them the top of the house, we'll stay in the bottom of the house, we'll all get on fantastically, it'll be great. And of course that's not what happens, and the war has left a lot of wounds in his family, in their surroundings. And this novel sees all those wounds either heal or worsen. I thoroughly enjoyed reading this. I really enjoyed the style. The only thing I would say is there's quite a bit of German in this book, basic German, and you can generally figure out what they're saying if you don't speak German, but you might want to keep Google Translate nearby if you don't know any German. I am reading this book, which is The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. This has been on my to-read list for years, genuinely years. It was released in 2008, I think, so since then basically. This is a World Book Night cover. This was given to me by my friend Kelly in the spirit of World Book Night. I do intend to get all three of the Chaos Walking trilogy. This is the first book in a trilogy. If you didn't know, they're very famous, very successful, but I really don't know that much about them. So I started this book without the slightest inclination of what was going to happen, and at first the style was kind of overwhelming because our narrator Todd is only 12 and he hasn't really had a proper school education. So the narrative is in his voice and his spelling and his grammar, which may irritate you if you're a big fan of perfect spelling. It's fantastic. I'm about 80 pages through and things are starting to happen. I would beg you not to spoil this book for me or this trilogy for me, because I feel as if I'm one of the last people on earth who hasn't read this. But I'm hoping for my birthday I'm going to get the lovely covers they have of these in Waterstones, and I'm going to get all three. And this is young adult fiction, by the way. It's been such a long time since I read a young adult book, so it's really nice to get lost in that type of story, and I'm very much looking forward to finishing this. The next book is one that loads of you have recommended to me in the past, and I do read your recommendations and I do fully intend to read every single one of them one day. But this is The Five People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. I picked this up quite recently and I haven't started it. It's going to be next when I finish The Knife of Never Letting Go. Quite short, so I might take this on my plane journey to America in August. That would be fun. And finally I grabbed this in Waterstones a few weeks ago because it was only $2.99. In Waterstones they have this little table of books that are all in and around this price, and usually they're quite famous books. The Kite Runner's in there and a few different crime novels, but this one caught my eye and I decided to buy it. It's The Girl in the Landing by Paul Torday. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but he wrote Salmon Fishing in the Yemen, which gained popularity last year when a movie was released of the same name, of the same story. I don't know why I said of the same name. I have no idea what this book is about apart from maybe a girl on the landing, so if you've read it, let me know if you enjoyed it. If you've read any of the books or are reading them or intend to read them, let's have a chat about books because that's always fun. I would thoroughly recommend The Aftermath by Rydian Brooke, and also The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. Sometimes it's really nice to read a series in the summer when you have free time and you can just read book after book after book with the same characters, and I've often enjoyed doing that over the summer. So that is all I wanted to say. I apologise if this video has been long. Hopefully the next video you see from me will be a Wonderly theme video, and I also am working on something very exciting. Well, it's exciting to me, you'll probably think it's kind of mundane, and I hope to tell you about that as soon as I possibly can. Okay. Thank you for watching. Bye.